Hello! I want to tell you a story about a love that the ocean tried to claim and a heart that refused to let it go. My name is Eleanor Vance, and for 20 years I was a widow. My Thomas, my handsome, smiling Thomas, was lost at sea when his cargo ship, the Peregrine, was swallowed by a storm. There was no funeral, no grave to visit, just a void and the scent of salt on the air that would forever remind me of his jacket. I built a life from that grief, a good life. I raised our two children, Sarah and Michael. I watched them grow into a brilliant lawyer and a passionate chef. And when the house felt too big and too quiet, my heart found room for one more. His name was Arthur, a quiet, kind man in his late 40s who had lost his own way in the world. I saw the loneliness in his eyes, a mirror of my own from years past. He started as a handyman fixing my porch step, but he quickly became so much more. He became the son of my heart. He called me Mom. He walked my Sarah down the aisle. He was my family, a bond forged not by blood, but by choice. Life was full again. It was peaceful. And then the doorbell rang. It was a Tuesday. Arthur and I were in the garden, our hands deep in the soil, planting hydrangeas. The chime echoed through the house. Arthur went to answer it. The silence that followed was profound. It was a silence that felt heavy, wrong. I walked inside, wiping the dirt from my hands onto my apron, and I saw him. Standing in my foyer, framed by the afternoon light, was a ghost. He was older, weathered by a lifetime I hadn't shared. His hair was gray, his face a road map of lines I didn't recognize. But his eyes, God, his eyes were Thomas's. He spoke a single word, his voice rough and cracked with an emotion I couldn't name. Ellie? The world stopped. The floor beneath my feet seemed to vanish. That voice, after 20 years, it was his voice. Thomas, I whispered, my own voice breaking. It can't be. His story tumbled out, a chaotic, impossible tale. The shipwreck was real. He'd been washed ashore, alone, with no memory of who he was. He lived for years in a fog, a man without a name or a past. It was only much later, after a fall, that fragments of his life began to return to him. My face, the children's names, our little house in Rockport. It had taken him years to find his way back to me. My husband was alive. What followed was a storm under my own roof. Sarah and Michael were thrown into a whirlwind of joy and confusion. Their father, their hero, was a miracle. But for Arthur, it was a devastation. He retreated, a shadow in the home he had helped build. He saw the rightful king returning to claim his throne, and he, the steward, was now without a place. And I was torn in two. The saint I had prayed to for 2 decades was a man who left his towels on the floor and didn't remember how I took my tea. The perfect, polished memory of my husband was now competing with a complicated, breathing stranger. The tension simmered for weeks until one night it boiled over. Thomas, trying to find his footing, tried to instruct Arthur on how to fix a leaky faucet, a faucet Arthur had fixed for me a dozen times before. "I've got it, thank you, Thomas," Arthur said, his voice tight. "Son, I've been fixing things since before you were born," Thomas replied, with a hint of his old, easy authority. That was the spark. "I am not your son." Arthur's voice cracked, the pain of weeks finally bursting forth. "For the last 10 years, I was the one who fixed the faucet. I was the one who sat with her when she was sick. I was the one who held this family together when you were just a memory. Where were you?" The silence that fell was heavier than the one when Thomas first arrived. I looked at both of them. Thomas, shamed and old. Arthur, heartbroken and defiant. And I knew what I had to do. Later, I found Thomas on the back porch, staring out at the dark, restless ocean. I sat beside him and took his weathered hand in mine. "I loved you, Thomas," I began, my voice soft but clear. "With every piece of my soul. I loved you so much that when I lost you, a part of me truly did die. But I built a new life from the pieces that remained. And a beautiful, cherished part of that life is Arthur. He is my son." I squeezed his hand, making him look at me. "The love I had for you, it isn't a room that can be emptied. It's like the ocean out there. It's vast. It's deep enough to hold more than one great love. My love for you never died. It just learned to live alongside the love I built without you. You can't come back and erase the last 20 years, but you can be a part of the next 20. It wasn't easy. There were more awkward dinners, more difficult conversations. Thomas had to learn to be a grandfather. Arthur had to learn to share his place. But love, true love, doesn't divide. it multiplies. So now, if you were to walk by my house at sunset, you'd see three of us on the porch. An old sailor, home from the sea, the son he never knew he had, and the woman whose heart was wide enough for them both. The tide brought my ghost home. And in doing so, it taught us that family isn't just about the past you mourn. It's about the future, the beautiful, unexpected future you have the courage to build together.